Councillor Sardul Marwa, WPTU, Chairman of the Race Relations and Equal Opportunities Committee, Birmingham City Council.
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह सिख चैनल के प्यारे दर्शकों सिख चैनल वालों आपकी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है सिक्स एंड पॉलिटिक्स शो जो नवा शुरू किया है सरदूल सिंह मरवा वालों आप जी जी आए अज दे जो असी MP के नाल इंटरव्यू कर रहे हैं उन्होंने नाल थोड़ी मुलाकात हुणे करावांगे मैं उन्होंने थोड़ी इंट्रोडक्शन दे देवां पहला वेलकम टू सिख चैनल एंड टू द सिक्स एंड पॉलिटिक्स टुडे आई एम joined by MP for Solihull, Lorely Burt, who was elected to Solihull in 2005, and she is the current MP for that area. And she has served as Shadow Minister for Northern Ireland, small businesses, women and equality, business enterprise, and she is a PPS to Danny Alexandra, who is the Secretary of State to the Treasury. And she has been a MP for Solihull. She's changed a number of things around that area. As we know, every MP who gets elected and they try to do things for that area. And Lorely Burt is a Liberal Democrat MP for Solihull. Lorely, welcome to Sikh Channel.
Thank you, Sardar.
Nice to see you again. It's been a long time. Last time you was here, I think it was 2010.
Well, I was on the breakfast show last week, you know.
Well, yes, of course, but I mean, politically,
Yes.
that was just before the general. But Lorely, commiserations, you put
Yes.
in for deputy leadership of the Liberal Democrats, and sorry to see that you didn't get that.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed about that. I only missed it by 2 votes as
Oh, dear.
well.
Yeah.
So anyway, congratulations to Malcolm Bruce,
Yeah.
who won, and I'm sure he'll do an excellent job as deputy leader of the Liberal Democrat Parliamentary Party.
Well, better luck next time. I'm sure you will have another go.
Yes. Oh, I might. I'm not this side of the general election, though.
Of course, no. Moving from there, the recent, even last night, immigration's been on the cards from successive governments. You know, it doesn't matter what colour the government's there, everybody have a go at immigration. They don't seem to really get to the grip of it, always something happening. With the immigration, when the report came out, about 34% of immigrants who came, they actually work and pay their taxes, and they don't go on benefits. And they've been a real economical benefit to the
They
country.
have, yes.
Right.
It-
But
it-
what's the situation? What's the problem now?
Okay, well, economic migrants have been a great benefit to this country, and people who've moved to this country, on the whole, have really contributed to the cultural diversity of the country. They've brought new skills in, new ways of thinking about things, new ways of working, and on the whole, people have been immigrants coming in have been a very great benefit to this country. I think what you see, though, is that successive governments have not really understood how to measure the immigrants that they've actually got. We don't know how many people we've got in this country because we've never actually measured people going out.
No.
So we know they came in.
Yeah, we don't know.
We think we know they came in. If they came in on the back of a lorry, then obviously not.
No.
But we know we don't know when they left. So really, we can only guess about how many people we've actually got here in
But
this
wasn't
country.
there maybe way back last year sometime there was a debate going on that we should register. We should have some sort of a system I mean, with the modern technology, everything, who comes in, who goes out, we should have the statistics done, don't
Yes,
we?
no, we should know, but I think it was in Mrs. Thatcher's era that this country stopped counting the people out.
Right.
So it
okay.
counts them in, but it doesn't count them out. But this issue, it has become a political hot potato, and there is one party which has leapt on it from in my view, quite an opportunist way, and that is UKIP.
Yeah.
And because UKIP pose quite a threat to the Conservative Party, because they threaten to take their votes, then the Conservatives have got very twitchy. Hence the fact that we've got this immigration bill, which does a number of quite useful things, but really, I mean, yesterday was just bizarre, really, because we've got all sorts of amendments to the bill proposed by right-wing Conservatives, and half of them were illegal.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the Liberal Democrats voted against the illegal ones,
yeah.
and we intended to abstain on the stupid ones, but we never got to that stage because it was talked out.
Wouldn't it make sense, though, if anybody who's coming into the country or who's already here, and they do something, big criminal things, murders and all sorts of things happening on their patch, and then aren't we then supposed to either get rid of them or strip them from their British nationality? Wouldn't that be right?
Well, for people who are naturalised but who have posed a threat, a terrorist threat to this country, then yes, I think they should be stripped of their national identity. But that's a tiny, tiny number of...
oh, yeah, of course, not every immigrant is going to be a criminal.
No. But, I mean, yes, there are a lot of practical problems as well, because people who've committed offences or who've come here illegally, if they've got no papers, then you have to be clear which country you're going to deport them back to.
Yeah, that's becoming difficult.
It isn't as easy as it always seems. But, I mean, I get people in my surgery, British people and people from all over the world who are battling with the UK Border Agency. So for today, for example, I had a lovely Indian guy. He's been working in the post office for 29 years, and he wanted his brother to come over. His brother had been over twice, gone home again when he said, so this was a visa situation.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden UKBA said, no, when they put in another application, and it was to come to a wedding as well,
right.
and they said, no, we've decided you can't come in. And you think, why? Why do people do this? So I think it's an important topic, and we have to understand people's sensitivities, and we have to deal carefully, but we have to deal compassionately as well. I think. I mean, especially when people have got relatives abroad and they want them to come to the UK, they have to stand surety, they have to demonstrate that they can keep them while they're here. The people coming over have got to prove that they've got lots to go back to, that they're not coming to this country to just come and live here and perhaps use our health service and things like that. So, I mean, I think as long as those things are observed, it is important that we should be seen as a welcoming nation.
Yeah.
So, for example, we just had the situation with the terrible, terrible things going on in Syria.
Yes.
And we've agreed to accept some of those refugees who've had some of the worst treatment. I mean, the whole thing on Syria is a terrible, terrible tragedy. So it is important, that we are seen to be... I mean, we actually contribute 0.7% of our GDP to international development. So that to me gives us the right to lead, to be a world leader when it comes to the way that people in the world should be treated, the human rights issues. We've got something to say, and we've got some skin in the game.
Well, because of the immigration and the recent figures of unemployment coming down, how far that is true from coalition government, whether it is right or wrong, but there are people out there, there's vacancies out there, but the real issue I personally have is the skills.
Yes.
And the training,
yes.
the education
yes.
in this country. And I always say, you know, people who, I don't know, in the 60s, early, they had the skills, they had the education, everything, but those skills are not passed on to our youngsters. And those skills, the CBI is saying it, the business world is saying it,
yes.
and the chairman of the BET, who's the chairman of the CBI, he's saying it. And they, Roy Anderson, who actually headed that a group of people who looked at into the report, that these skills are needed. Where are we going wrong?
Absolutely.
Where are we going wrong?
Well, I mean, Sardul, we're talking about the 60s, and of course in the 60s we had an apprenticeship system. And, you know, young people were apprenticed for quite a few years. They learned their trade. And one of the things that we have tried to do in this coalition government is to rebalance our economy. So here in the West Midlands, we are really good. We never give ourselves the credit for just how good we are at things like manufacturing. And so we've actually grown the manufacturing sector for the first time in, gosh, however many years. I mean, it went down under Labour from 20% of the economy to 12% of the economy. It's appalling. I mean, services are really, really important, don't get me wrong, but manufacturing is something that we are good at here in the West Midlands. And so, because manufacturing has grown, we've got the fantastic successes of companies like Jaguar Land Rover, which is in my constituency in Solihull, then we've now got skill shortages. So if you've got any listeners out there who want to train up for something where, you know, there really are a lot of jobs available, I'd say go into engineering, go into apprenticeships. We've actually now got 1.5 million apprenticeships in this country. That's a fantastic achievement. So young people mainly are being educated, and employers, you know, if there are any employers out there, you know, you get £1,500 for taking on an apprentice. They usually will get all of their training fees.
The construction industry, Lorely, is really crying out for plumbers, electricians, carpenters, plasterers, bricklayers. You know, these are the skills really fading away, right? So why are we then, you might say 1 million or whatever apprenticeships there are, but then we're still short of these people.
We are, but we're on an upward trajectory, you know, the numbers are going up, the government is making a lot of money available, there's £38 million out there available for engineering companies to train their people. There's our fantastic technology centre at Coventry as well. That's had about £18 million specifically to enhance our ability to train young engineers. So there's huge opportunities out there.
Right, let's just move on to, which is the next topic, or a couple of 3 months away, Europe.
Oh yes,
right.
Yes, European elections.
European elections are really on the doorstep.
Yes.
And where you said UKIP being the one issue party about coming out of Europe, and Cameron's meeting President of France, talking about these things, renegotiation, or even referendum, right? And the legislation being put forward 2017, I gather, right? Is that's going to happen? So where do we really stand on all of this?
Let me just do something really mean to you now, Sardul. Can you tell me what is our net contribution to Europe? As a percentage of our gross domestic product, of all the money that we spend
I did look it up, but it escapes me. Something, I don't know,
Well,
7%?
7%?
Yeah.
Less than 7?
5?
Less than 5?
Good God. Guessing game here now.
So let me put you out of your misery. It's less than 1%.
Really?
And you've got UKIP who are saying, oh, it's all so terrible. Do you know there are over 3 million jobs in the United Kingdom that would be under threat if we lost our membership of the European Union.
Right.
All those foreign companies who come into and settle in Britain and provide British jobs because we are a platform into Europe.
Yeah.
Because of all of the systems that we have, because of the free trade, because we're all working on the same measurements and standards of quality with Europe. Together, you know, I think it's a nice phrase actually, and that is, I think Britain stands tall in the world when it stands tall in its own backyard.
Next one, again, elections or referendum for Scotland.
Oh, Scotland, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, Scotland, just up the road really, up north, if Scotland becomes independent, whatever the views of people are, and there are quite a sizable Sikh community in Scotland.
Right.
Yes. There is. Yeah. And then, are we going to cross the borders? Are we going to have different passports?
Well,
and who's going to... And what's going to happen? What's going to... What are your view, or the Liberal Democrats' view on that?
Well, I just think that we're better together. We're better as a... You know, what is this country called? It's the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And if Scotland pulls away, I mean, I don't know how they could logistically manage it, because they'd have to have different passports. They'd have to renegotiate their membership of the European Union. What about the pound? I mean, we had Mark Carney up there, the governor of the Bank of England, saying, well, you know, if you're going to have one single, the same unit of money between an independent Scotland and the United Kingdom, then Scotland wouldn't be able to make all its own economic decisions because it would affect the pound. You know, so I actually don't see how it could feasibly
be independent. Wouldn't it have been better though that although they got powers, Scottish Parliament, wouldn't it be better they could actually have some more powers, executive powers or whatever, rather than going independent? Well,
they have got quite a lot of decision-making powers themselves already, and they've done some good things which I'd like us to be able to do here in the United Kingdom. You know, with things like university tuition fees, with care fees for the elderly, things like that. You know. Our Liberal Democrats would love to see that. It'd be really great. But I think what a lot of Scottish people feel is that, you know, we've got all this oil. You know, the British, the English, they're just after our oil. The trouble is, though, the oil's going to run out one of these days. You know, it's already running out. But I think, you know, yes, of course, I think it'd be perfectly possible to divest more powers to Scotland if that was what they wanted. By all means, I just think there are more things which pull us together than things which keep us apart. I mean, my brother has got a company in Scotland. You know, so he thinks he would vote against the referendum. Now, Scottish people down here, they're not going to get a vote, are they? So, you know, but he'll have a vote because he's living in Scotland.
Well, I mean, as I said, there are quite a sizable community who'll be watching this program and just seeing what they think on which way they're going to be swinging. And obviously, I have an intention actually going to Scotland next to a program there and seek their views, and obviously the Liberal Democrats and the other. Yes, well, of course you can. And but the other issue is, which we talked about the skills. Just finally going to back into skills and education. Yes. When we looked at the world tables, England or UK is not faring very good in the education standards, yeah. Right? And where UK or English universities used to be the world leaders in education. What's gone wrong there?
Sardul, we still are the world leaders. Our universities are amongst the very, very best in the world, and that's why young people want to come over to the UK to study, and we want to welcome them with open arms, because...
Why then the lower level of English, the secondary or the...
why is there so much illiteracy and innumeracy?
Yes, yes.
Can you say numeracy?
Numeracy, yes.
Well, lack of numeracy.
Yes, why?
We'll settle for that.
Why?
It's a really difficult question to answer. I'm not an educationalist.
Yes.
I mean, what my party have contributed to government is there's several things on education. One is we believe that educational attainment actually starts when you're very, very tiny.
Yeah.
So that's why we've put extra money in to help for 2-year-olds, extra nursery provision for 3- and 4-year-olds, free school meals for 5-, 6- and 7-year-olds, because children learn much better when they've got a good hot dinner in their belly. You know, they can concentrate better, they perform better. But also, we've also, from our manifesto, managed to get something called the pupil premium, which is a name which has never stuck, but basically it's a lot of money. It's over £1,000 for every child who's on free school meals. And that's to give the school extra money to support those children with their learning, giving them extra tuition.
Finally, still staying with education, do you think with the coalition governments splitting this into academies, into faith schools, and taking power away from the local councils and privately run, do you think that was a good idea?
Well, I have to speak for myself personally now. I personally don't like academies. I think that local authorities, in the main, have done a good job. Yeah. I mean, in Solihull, the local authority has really been very supportive and making sure, that these schools do attain their standards. Now we've got this free school situation where, anybody who's got £2 million in their back pocket can set up an academy. Parents can decide that even if there's provision in the local schools, parents can get together and say, well, we don't want that, we want a free school, And so I think it's good that schools should have a lot of autonomy, because school education isn't just about sticking to a strict curriculum and following that to the letter, and every child's got to learn exactly the same thing, because children are different.
Absolutely, yeah.
And education is a much broader thing than just the academic learning of the child. So I just think it's a shame. I like diversity, obviously, and I like teachers having a degree of autonomy and control over schools. But for myself, speaking just for myself, I like the idea of local authority schools, those local authorities being able to help schools. If a school gets into trouble, who's going to help them out now? No.
Right, absolutely.
So it worries me, but there you go, that's just me.
Lorely, finally, coalition government. You, after a very long your party gone into government.
Yes.
And in 2015, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
See, if the Conservatives don't form the government, would you be going with Labour, or are you able to say anything?
Well, who knows what's going to happen in 2015. you know, there have been predictions of the demise of the Liberal Democrats, but you know, that happens every time. Oh yeah, that's the end for the Liberal Democrats. But strangely, we always come back, and so I don't know how it's all going to play out. I don't think that UKIP are going to do quite as well as predicted, because we had the referendum on fair votes, and we lost the referendum, so therefore we've still got this voting first past the post system. So UKIP have to do extremely well to get any seats at all. And if you look at that, you can look at the parallel with the Green Party as well. We've got one single Green Party MP. So where you've got the first past the post system, I don't think UKIP will do that brilliantly. But I don't think the Conservatives are going to do that brilliantly either. And I think what you've got is you've got a Conservative Party that is veering off to the right. You've got a Labour Party that seems to be spinning off to the left. So I think that in the next government, the Liberal Democrats will again play a pivotal role, because what we want in Britain, I think what everybody in Britain wants, is a stronger economy. We mustn't let Labour forget that they messed the economy up big time, you know, but we also want a fairer society. We've stopped the Conservatives from doing a lot of things that they wanted to do, like, for example, for workers, you know, firing people at will, you know, tax breaks for millionaires, all sorts of things like that, you know. So if you want a stronger economy and a fairer society, then Liberal Democrats have got a really important part to play, whichever of the other parties happen to be in government next time.
Well, we'll wait and see. Lorely, thank you very much for coming to and speaking to us and giving your points of view. And I'm sure these arguments, these discussions will go on.
Oh, they will.
And I'm sure if we call upon you near the general election, and if you could oblige us to come back, and we will be grateful.
I'll come back any time you invite me, Sardul. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. So, प्यारे दर्शकों, ये सन Lorely Burt MP for Solihull, इन्हां दे नाल असीं अज गलबात कर रहे सी. सो इन्हां दे नाल ते होर बहुत ਜਿਹੜੇ prominent politicians ਹਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਜਾਰੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਾਂਗੇ. ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਚਾਰਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕੁਝ ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. ਸੋ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ ਫॉर ਵਾਚਿੰਗ ਐਂਡ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ ਟੂ Lorely Burt for giving us the time. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ.